My beloved brothers and sisters, I want to talk to you today about a very serious but vital topic. We all want the blessings of Allah. Every single one of us prays, works hard and makes dua, hoping that the mercy and grace of the Almighty will descend upon us, upon our families and upon our careers. But sometimes we feel like a blockage exists. It's like we're driving with the handbrake on. We're doing good deeds, but the progress, the peace and the abundant blessings we yearn for just aren't materializing. I'm going to be very direct with you today. Sometimes the problem is not a lack of prayer, the problem is the company we keep. Your environment is more influential on your spiritual state than you may realize. You must be prepared to make painful decisions if you truly want to unlock the door to Allah's blessings. I'm talking about 3 types of people you absolutely must cut off from your close circle, or at least keep at a safe distance if you are serious about your future in this life and the next. My dear respected brothers and sisters, let us take a deeper look at this first category, because it is perhaps the most deceptive and the most dangerous to your spiritual journey. We are talking about the individual, the companion, the friend who actively, perhaps even cleverly, undermines the sincerity of your repentance. You see, the moment you decide to turn back to Allah, that decision, that moment of tawbah is the single greatest spiritual victory you will ever achieve. It is a moment of light penetrating the darkness, a moment of profound courage. You stood up, you looked at your mistakes, and you consciously said, for the sake of Allah, no more. That is a powerful transaction between you and the Almighty. Shaitan hates that moment. He absolutely loathes it. And so, Shaitan works. If he cannot directly stop you, he uses proxies. And who is the most effective proxy? The one you trust, the one you feel comfortable with, the one who shares your history. This is the old friend we speak of. Imagine, you've decided to stop listening to forbidden music. You've cleared your phone, you've put on an Islamic lecture, and you feel that beautiful, calm peace of the iman starting to settle in your heart. Then the phone rings, or you meet them, and what is the first thing they do? They don't congratulate you, they question you. They say, what's with the sudden change? Are you a sheikh now? Are you becoming too extreme? Or they'll play that very song you just deleted with a knowing wink and say, come on, just for old time's sake, it's only a bit of fun. Allah's forgiving. My beloved people, this is not friendship, this is sabotage. Think about the psychology of this person. When you change for the better, you hold up a mirror to their own life, your goodness illuminates their stagnation. Your new path highlights their continued choice of the wrong road. They don't want to follow the light, and they certainly don't want to walk alone in the dark. So, what is easier for them? To change their whole life? No. It is much easier to pull you back, to drag you down to their level so they can feel comfortable again. They don't want to lose their partner in crime. And the words they use are designed to shatter your tawbah when they bring up your past sins, saying, who are you trying to fool? We remember what you were doing last week. They are trying to inject despair into your heart. They are trying to make you doubt Allah's infinite mercy. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, taught us that the one who repents from sin is like one who did not sin at all. Allah, the most forgiving, wants you to forget those sins. Yet this supposed friend wants to chain you to them, reminding you of a life you have consciously and sincerely rejected for the sake of the Almighty. They are essentially acting as a human megaphone for Shaitan, whispering, it's impossible for you to change. Your repentance isn't real. You are a hypocrite. This is why you must understand the true meaning of a friend in Islam. A true friend is one who is a well-wisher for your hereafter. They are the one who reminds you to pray when you are heedless, who is genuinely happy when you perform a good deed, and who holds your hand and says, let's chase Jannah together. They cover your faults, they advise you gently, and they encourage you to rush towards Allah. The individual who undermines your repentance, however, is a liability to your soul. They are a threat to your eternal peace. You must look at them and ask yourself a very serious, very painful question. If I were to die right now, would this person be the one who calls me to good or the one who distracts me until the very last moment? If the answer is the latter, then you must find the courage to create distance. This doesn't mean you must become rude or malicious. No, you can smile, you can be polite, but you must strategically reduce the contact, reduce the time, and reduce the influence. You replace the empty words of the destructive acquaintance with the enriching remembrance of Allah and the company of those who will sincerely encourage your closeness to Him. If a person is actively hindering your sincere tawbah, then the love you might feel for them, which is keeping you bound to their destructive influence, must be replaced with a greater overriding love for Allah. Because when you choose Allah, everything else falls into place, including the true righteous companionship that will actually unlock and multiply the blessings in your life. Remember, the road to paradise is narrow, and you cannot afford to walk it with someone who is constantly trying to drag you off the path. This is a matter of your eternal destiny. So choose wisely and be brave. Cut off the handbrake so the blessings may flow. My respected brothers and sisters, we now move to the second category of people you must strategically distance yourself from if you truly desire the outpouring of Allah's blessings into your life. This one deals not so much with action but with attitude, and it is profoundly contagious. The second person you need to distance yourself from is the eternal pessimist, the relentless complainer, and the one who speaks ill of Allah's decree. Now, understand something clearly. Feeling sad or going through a tough time is a fundamental part of the human condition. We are not robots. When calamity strikes, when loss occurs, the tears will flow and you seek comfort. That is natural, and it is perfectly permissible in Islam to grieve and feel the weight of the world. But I am not speaking about a person who is temporarily struggling. I am talking about an individual whose default state is chronic negativity. They are the ones who have perfected the art of finding fault in every single situation, who see the dark cloud and refuse to acknowledge the silver lining, whose every sentence is a protest against the reality that Allah has designed. This person is a walking poison to your tawakkul, to your reliance upon Allah. How? Because iman, true faith, requires us to believe deep down in our bones that Allah is the most just, the most loving, and the most wise. It requires us to affirm that whatever comes our way, the comfort, the pain, the abundance, the scarcity, is ultimately a design from a master creator, and there is an inherent wisdom in it, even if we cannot perceive it with our limited human minds. The complainer, however, constantly violates this core belief. When they get a promotion, they complain it should have been better. When they have good health, they complain about the tiny ache that prevents perfection. When they receive rain, they complain it is ruining their plans. When you see a person whose lips are constantly curled in dissatisfaction, whose tongue is always active in ingratitude to the Almighty, they are in effect creating a barrier to Allah's grace. And this is where the danger comes for you. Negativity is spiritually infectious. You see, when you spend time with this individual, their perpetual gloom starts to dim your own light. You might walk into a gathering feeling energized and grateful, having just thanked Allah for your simple blessings, for your sight, your health, your shelter. But within 15 minutes of listening to the professional complainer, you start absorbing their poison. They focus so intensely on what is missing, what is wrong, and what is unfair, that you start looking at your own life through their distorted lens. Suddenly, your own simple blessings feel inadequate. The job you were grateful for now seems tedious, and the house you loved now seems too small. This is a direct attack on shukr, on thankfulness. And my beloved people, thankfulness is the key that unlocks the treasury of divine blessings. Allah explicitly tells us in the Quran, If you are grateful, I will surely increase you in favor. But if you deny, indeed, my punishment is severe. The complainer is essentially denying the goodness of Allah by perpetually magnifying the hardship. By keeping the company of this chronic pessimist, you are allowing them to chip away at your gratitude, making you question Allah's perfect decree and reducing your own capacity for thankfulness. If you allow yourself to be influenced to the point where your heart is filled with constant dissatisfaction, then how can you expect Allah to increase you? Blessings flow where gratitude resides. Complaining is an antidote to blessings. You must be tough enough to protect your own iman from this spiritual black hole. You do not have to abandon them entirely, but you must strictly limit their influence. You need to create a boundary where their negativity cannot penetrate your inner peace. If you want Allah to bless you with peace, happiness and abundance, then you must seek the company of those who see the grace of Allah in every sunrise, in every breath and in every trial. Choose companions who lift your gaze towards the heavens, not those who keep your eyes fixed on the dust of the dunya. Their chronic discontent is a block to your own blessings. Remove the block. We arrive now at the third category of people you must exercise extreme caution and distance from. If the first category was a danger to your past, your repentance, and the second was a danger to your present, your gratitude and tawakkul, this third one is a fundamental danger to your entire future, your capacity for discernment and your adherence to the boundaries set by Allah. The third person you must learn to detach from is the one who makes sin look attractive and permissible. This person is subtle. They are often charismatic, often friendly, and they are usually experts in rationalization. They are not necessarily the one tempting you into the major, blatant sins that scream disobedience. No. The danger of this individual lies in their ability to normalize what Allah has forbidden, to blur the sacred, clear lines of the Sharia, and to make the slippery slope look like a gentle path. Think about the way they speak. They are the masters of the loophole, the specialists in justifying the morally gray area. They take the black and white clarity of Islamic guidance and introduce shades of ambiguous gray, constantly looking for the easiest way out of a divine command. They are the ones who gossip relentlessly about a person and then tell you, well, it's not really ghiba, backbiting, because what I'm saying is actually true. So it's just reporting facts. They use a half-truth to justify a full-blown sin that can eat away at the deeds of a righteous person on the day of judgment. They are the ones who engage in dubious interest-based transactions, the ones who cut financial corners and then confidently declare everyone does it. This is just the way the world works now. You have to be smart. You have to be practical. They are providing you with an excuse to abandon the caution and piety that Allah demands in our daily dealings. They are the ones who treat their prayer with incredible laziness, constantly delaying it past its prescribed time. And when you gently advise them, they reply with a shrug, Allah is forgiving. He knows my heart, I'll make it up later. My dear people, this constant exposure to the casual attitude towards sin is the real poison. It is a slow spiritual erosion. When you are frequently around someone who treats Allah's commands as optional suggestions, your heart starts to absorb that casualness. Your conscience, which is your internal spiritual alarm system, begins to dull. That strong sense of shame or haya that a believer should feel when approaching a forbidden act starts to fade away. The biggest tragedy here is that this person strips the sin of its perceived heaviness. They replace the fear of Allah with a misplaced, casual reliance on His forgiveness without fulfilling the conditions for that forgiveness. They are essentially leading you to become heedless. When you become heedless, you lose your spiritual alertness. You stop guarding your eyes, your ears and your tongue. You stop questioning whether something is right or wrong because the prevailing environment has already deemed it fine. And how can Allah's blessings, which are pure and wholesome barakah, settle upon a life that is constantly being contaminated by casually normalized sin? Blessings are attracted to purity, to taqwa, consciousness of Allah, and to spiritual vigilance. They are repelled by arrogance and carelessness in the face of divine law. You need to remember the profound wisdom of our Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, who compared a good friend to a seller of musk and a bad friend to a blacksmith. The seller of musk will either give you some or you will buy some, or at the very least you will walk away smelling sweet. The blacksmith, the one whose whole environment is fire and smoke, will either burn your clothes or you will carry away a foul odor. The one who normalizes sin is a spiritual blacksmith. You cannot sit near the fire of transgression without carrying away the stain and the stench of it. Therefore, for the sake of your own salvation, for the safeguarding of your iman, you must detach, you must choose the companions who remind you of the gravity of the smallest sin, who help you to fear Allah and who inspire you to be vigilant. You must choose people whose presence makes you think, I must be better, I must be more careful, I must strive for purity. In conclusion, my brothers and sisters, if you want to unlock the full potential of Allah's blessings in your life, you have to do some spiritual spring cleaning. Cut off the individual who mocks your repentance. Cut off the one who poisons your heart with ingratitude, and cut off the one who makes sin look easy. These are the human blockages to your divine blessings. Make the difficult choice to remove them, replace them with righteous company, and watch how Allah opens the doors of mercy, peace and abundance for you. May Allah grant us all the clarity to see the truth and the courage to act upon it. Ameen.